Coming up, police crack down on an illegal car and gun ring.
Plus, immigration also cracking down on a vexing problem in the country.
And in sports, the Bahamas Olympic Committee cracking open opportunities for athletes. The Bahamas Tonight, the National Report, starts now.
Now in HD. ZNS Network presents The Bahamas Tonight. This portion of the news brought to you by BTC Every Day.
Immigration launches a full-scale crackdown to rid the country of what the minister calls a vexing problem. Good evening, everyone. I'm Chris Saunders.
And I'm Opal Roche. Thanks so much for joining us. Well, government putting stricter measures in place in hopes of cutting down on the number of illegal nationals in the country. Today, the immigration minister laid out plans in Parliament to do just that. Well, our Jared Higgs has more on the immigration crackdown.
You can't just jump off a boat with your wet feet and come into the immigration department and apply for a work permit.
Minister Mitchell not mincing his words as he announced a major shift in immigration policy, a shift that involves changes to work permit procedures.
With immediate effect, we will not be accepting in the Department of Immigration applications for people who do not have legal status in the Bahamas to work, and anyone who comes to do so, the application will be refused and the applicant will be arrested and charged and deported.
The minister responsible for immigration also said that Cabinet is also considering a ban on persons who have come here illegally and been deported.
So we are considering a permanent prospective ban on all people who have come here illegally and have been deported, so that prospectively they will not be able to qualify for permanent status in the Bahamas.
Starting in November, new procedures will be put in place for first-time work permit holders from Haiti, including the applicant having to go to the Bahamian Embassy in Port-au-Prince. Following a period of comment, new policies will be established for implementation in January of 2015. Changes in work permit policy, however, will start as early as November 1st.
And it is envisaged that the regulations will be amended and the policies accordingly.
The minister added other protocols will be put in place for non-nationals who live and go to school here in the Bahamas.
As of November the 1st, require all persons who live in the Bahamas to have a passport of the country of their nationality. Those people who have been born here will get a particular residence permit, which will allow them to work and live here until such time as their status pursuant to any application under the terms of the Constitution is decided. This will allow access of children to the schools. This will not apply to the children of people who are here illegally.
Also come November 1st, certificates of identity or travel documents will no longer be issued except in rare cases.
These will only be for Bahamians who have a need for an emergency travel document or where, in accordance with our international obligations, we are to issue them to non-nationals.
Mr. Mitchell also noted that talks were held with the Haitian ambassador and leaders within the Haitian community at large. The November 1st date will also see a requirement for all persons who live in the Bahamas to have a passport of their nationality. Jared Higgs, ZNS Network News.
Well, another crackdown taking place in the capital. This time it involves stolen luxury cars, ammunition, and weapons.
Today, the Customs Department and members of the Royal Bahamas Police Force displayed their latest find in an ongoing sting operation to bring those persons to justice engaged in a major smuggling scam. It comes as the country deals with a crime wave that continues to be fueled by illegal firearms and ammunition on the street. Officials also say it now answers questions regarding a smuggling ring of high-end stolen vehicles from the U.S. that are sold on the black market right here on Bahamian streets. But as Clint Watson tells us tonight, some of the finds are shocking, especially considering the cost of the cars and how guns and ammunitions are getting on our streets.
A major bust by customs and police could bring down a large stolen vehicle and illegal firearms and ammunition smuggling ring. We already knew that critical to the war on crime was the crackdown of smuggled illegal firearms and ammunition. And according to Customs Controller Charles Turner, they're on to something.
When opening the containers, we would have found 4 vehicles contained therein. And those vehicles are sports Camaro vehicles and a Tahoe vehicle. And additionally, we would have found over 1,000 rounds of ammunition.
Officials say this investigation is ongoing, so they're not commenting much on arrest suspects, neither their operations. No dollar value yet on the find. Turner also noted that all of the vehicles were stolen in the United States. The operation has been ongoing for months, but intensified, we're told, within the past 2 weeks.
It is a part of a larger ring because we will be seizing more vehicles that are presently in New Providence.
So you've identified vehicles that you believe to be connected to this operation?
That's correct. We do have evidence that, or information that guns are coming in through the Family Islands. But we must say that this may have been one of the means that some guns may have been coming into the Bahamas.
Turner defended his staff.
I don't have any information to say that customs officers are involved at this time.
There is also concern that illegal firearms are being smuggled aboard private yachts, but Turner also defended the efficiency of his officers to detect crimes aboard these vessels.
Are you saying, sir, then that your officers physically checks these yachts and checks compartments in these yachts?
Yes, that's the duty of the officer to check the yachts.
Officials say this latest find includes a Mercedes-Benz and other vehicles which were significantly undervalued. Turner had this warning for car buyers.
Where the price may appear to be good, be careful because it may be a stolen vehicle where the customs duty may not have been paid. And so if they are possession of a vehicle where the customs duty may not have been paid, then we will seize that vehicle for duty payment. And if it's a stolen vehicle, they will not get that vehicle back.
Police Press Officer Superintendent Stephen Dean is adamant that authorities will not let up.
The question of firearms continue to prevail through our communities, people being injured by firearms. And so we believe that the wheels of justice are slowly turning by this.
Now, ZNS News can confirm from intelligence that we've received that some prominent figures may be involved in this ring. It goes to underscore what police have been saying for some time, that there must have been inside help from the high end. They say the smuggling could not have been just a small man on the street. They plan on cracking this ring and bringing those persons responsible, regardless of who they know, to justice. Clint Watson, ZNS Network News.
Thanks, Clint. Well, police are investigating a shooting that has left a man believed to be in his early 20s in hospital. We understand that the man was in the area near a web shop on Carmichael Road when a gunman approached him and opened fire. Right now, authorities are not sure of a motive, but investigations continue. If you have information that can assist the police, please give them a call at 919 or 328-TIPS.
From the courts, the appellate court has granted veteran prosecutor Cheryl Grant Bethel extra time to submit a bill seeking court costs. You may remember that Grant Bethel sought a judicial review of a decision to appoint her law reform commissioner after she was denied the director of public prosecution's job back in 2010. Instead, it was given to Jamaican jurist Vinette Grant Allen, who has since resigned. Meantime, at the close of the review, the court sided with Grant Bethel and awarded her 90% of court costs. However, the other side appealed, but later withdrew the matter in June of 2012. As a result, the appellate court awarded Grant Bethel court costs amounting to $30,000. During today's proceedings, her attorney Wayne Monroe admitted that he did not submit the bill for the awarded costs in time and asked for an extension, which the court granted. Meantime, Monroe indicated that the bill for the court costs in Supreme Court following the judicial review is $450,000. Crime, though, was the central topic of debate in the House of Assembly today.
And as Carla Palmer tells us, as government puts measures in place to break the back of crime, it's also strengthening legislation.
The final 4 crime bills being debated by the government include the Abolition of a Mandatory Minimum Sentences Bill 2014, the Bail Amendment Bill 2014, the Evidence Amendment Bill 2014, and the Coroner's Amendment Bill 2014. Member of Parliament for Central and South Eleuthera, Minister of State for Legal Affairs, the Honorable Damien Gomez, moved the second reading of the bills. Minister Gomez spoke of each bill in detail with the overall intent of all of the bills having an impact in reducing crime in the country.
We on this side had indicated our commitment, which we reiterate today,
to ensuring that the swift justice program succeeds. The court renovations at the Ansbacher building and in the old magistrate court building, which is now being rehabilitated to house the temporary court, is at a stage where we ought very soon to take possession of the property with a view to turning it over to the Chief Justice for him to occupy and utilize in order to ensure that we reduce radically the number of incidents in which persons come to court to assert that either they have not been tried within a reasonable time, or it is likely that they will not be tried within a reasonable time.
Minister Gomez also tabled crime statistics regarding bail matters from January 2013. The data, he says, underscores the need for efficiency of the court system. Member of Parliament for West, Grand Bahama and Bimini, the Honorable Obi Wilchcombe, agreed as he seconded the bill.
Our national commitment to industry, to loyalty, to unity, to respect for the rule of law, and our abiding faith in the Christian values. That's what our Constitution tells us in the preamble. The rule of law is spoken to. So we are supposed to respect the rule of law and cause others to respect it. We are supposed to cause men and women to be able to understand that you can exist in a community, you can disagree in a community, but you don't have to, Mr. Speaker, do things to cause the community to be broken apart and destroyed.
The debate continues. I'm Carla Palmer for ZNS Network News.
Coming up in the Bahamas tonight, canine distemper still a major concern, why officials at the Bahamas Humane Society say it's not going away.
This segment of the news is brought to you by Shell Quality Fuels.